Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and this week I am joined by Susan and Tim. We are discussing a 1987 movie which was quite successful in its day, and of course, once a successful movie is, you get sequels. Um, and this one did have several sequels, but this is the original one we're talking about, starring it's a film starring Peter Weller in the lead. A violent film for its time, um, a science fiction movie, a futuristic movie. It's RoboCop we're talking. So we'll go around to these two fellas here, two guys, two gals, and whatever you want to call them. We're open to suggestions. So Tim, opening thoughts on RoboCop.
It's a good movie. It's a classic. I'd forgotten how good this was. It's it's a lot of fun, really. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There's a lot of comedy in it, so I mean that gives it a lot of staying power, because you can watch it now, however many years later, and it's still an enjoyable film. It's got a great cast in it. You see a lot of people before they were in Twin Peaks, and especially Miguel Ferrer. He's awesome in this, and uh, it's just a great original story. I mean, what a cool idea, and it's got some really good scenes in it. Some excellent. It's very 80s. It pretty much just screams 80s, doesn't it? But
Oh yeah.
it's a whole lot of fun. One of the things that struck me watching it was how they prefigured or predicted a lot of the technology that we use today as far as police and FBI. I mean, for example, we didn't have the AFIS computer for fingerprints until 1999. And so, I mean, and they were doing things like that, and like the facial recognition software he has that he manages to find out who these people are that have messed with him. That's something we're just now doing today. So, I mean, it's pretty cool how it predicts all those kind of things. But yeah, it's a great movie.
Thanks, Tim. Susan, over to you.
Well, I've I haven't seen this for a while, but it was great to see it again. Um, it seems really sort of true in that there were an armed group of thugs who invaded the Michigan State House and Capitol and were attempting to capture and kidnap the governor of the state instead of the mayor. In RoboCop, it's all about the mayor, but in this instance, in this world, it was the governor, and and there was the other mayor was like, I want to recount, I want my old job back, and it was, I mean, like, it, there's so many parallels to the way it is right now. Um, uh, Part of the QAnon conspiracy theory is that there was a laser cannon that started some of the things in California, and there it was, the laser cannon from space. It's it's got so, and the way that his helmet was constructed, and the way his it was half a face and half a half a droid, and the way that they called it a droid. I mean, they really drew from all of these different areas. They drew from Star Wars and Star Trek, and basically RoboCop was Data Mark 1. You know, he was except for with memories. I mean, the memory thing was also really interesting, how it played on recall, aka Total Recall. There are those sorts of. It was amazing that those two movies came out so close together too. That was really an intriguing connection there, and apparently they offered it to like Arnold and a bunch of other like guys that were, was really built and stuff, and they were afraid that they couldn't run the suit. They couldn't run the RoboCop suit, and because Peter Weller was super buff and super flexible and stuff, he was able to wear the suit. And I saw that at a Comic-Con panel online that Peter Weller was talking about his experience with like wearing the suit and how he was like it was super like hot and dehydrating, and he lost like sometimes up to 3 pounds a day. I mean, that's amazing. Like that's really cool. Um,
I could do with a suit like that.
yeah, me too. I'm just saying. But no, but it was like that really showed a commitment to doing this and to doing it well and stuff. And he was, Peter Weller's a good actor. I mean, he's a really good actor. And and I really liked how it was um it was you know very violent. It was very rough. There wasn't any gentle there weren't any gentle moments in it. Not with the partner, not with the business, not with the city, not with government. It was just like it was one punch after another, one shot after another. It was amazing. Like it was pretty incredibly brutal. And anyway, so I really liked that. And it was sort of like Detroit had, or Delta City, Detroit had become a uh, a dystopia. I mean, and and what's it? What's that? It's almost like it was fascist, but it was like it was just, yeah, it was really brutal. So I enjoyed watching it again. You know, I do agree that it didn't take itself super seriously because there was comedy in there. I agree, Lee, and I'm I'm just glad that we got to do this. So back over to you.
Thank you, Susan. Yeah, it's been a while since I sat down and watched RoboCop. And I agree with what Tim. It does scream 80s. Uh, but we did have a batch of movies roughly around the same time in the mid 80s, and you just get the feel, the way it was made, the colours of the movies, the the special effects. It's 80s, but it's still enjoyable. I agree, Peter. I can't see anybody else playing RoboCop. I know they tried in the remake, which didn't really go down too well. But Peter Weller was RoboCop and always will be. Um, and I can understand why these, as Susan said, big names like Arnie or Sly or whoever wouldn't do it, because for me personally, I think it's an ego thing, hard in the face all the time, maybe because the helmet, all you saw there was the mouth. So I don't think those sort of actors would have gone for that, because if you remember, Stallone had to take his helmet off in Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd never takes his helmet off. So yeah, it's an enjoyable movie. As you say, it's violent, and that's more violence the better for me in these sort of sci-fi fantasy movies. And the special effects, slightly dated now, but the I can't remember what the name of the police robot was called. What was it called now? The big gun thing. You've got 20 seconds to comply. But brilliant model work.
It was all stop motion.
Yeah, all stop motion. It's, I mean, hardly ever used these days now. It's all CGI. It's so good to see that.
It was ED 209.
That was yeah. That was so good. Yeah, and you've got some good villains in this. Clarence, the leader of the gang. I mean, I remember. I can't remember the actor's name, but I know he was from that '70s show. But brilliant villain, and as Tim said, several actors in this before they appeared in Twin Peaks. Ray Wise was in this as well.
Very skinny looking.
Very yeah. He didn't really have much to say in it, but it was good to see him in this. And we also had
Kurtwood.
yeah, and we also had Daniel, so an Irish surname, who was
Dan O'Hurley.
That's him. Yeah, he appeared in Twin Peaks later on as well, but he was the board, the manager of the government thing, wasn't he? But all in all, I enjoyed this. The story was quite a simple story. Go after the people what caused you the way you are. So let's go to favorite moments or things what you could have done without. We'll go Susan this time.
All right, my favorite moment has to be where he's getting helped by his old partner, and after he's gotten shot up and stuff, and done battle with the big other droid, and how how he takes off his helmet, and then she hands him a mirror, and he looks at his face. And I also like the dream sequences. Those are kind of cool. And now that you mention it, Tim, I really like the fact that it. Just a moment.
Well, go over to Tim.
Well, I forgot to mention it's an excellent revenge movie. That's it. It does it in a really interesting way. And the twist, I guess, is that the ultimate bad guy is the guy that's been in charge of the whole time. Ronnie Cox's character, and it's just brilliantly executed revenge. I mean, it's wonderful. I also like that they didn't go down the usual tropes of having the main guy fall in love with the girl, because that would have just dragged it down. That would have just wasted time. I think it was great that they had a good partnership, and that she recognized him almost right away, and he didn't know her because he had his memory wiped. Well, which leads me to one of my favorite scenes is when he's walking into his own house where his family was, and they're not there anymore, and he remembers all these things, and they come flooding back into his head, and so I thought that was a nice touch for such a brutal movie. That he still remembers his wife and his kid, and I thought that was great. And that kind of pretty much sends him on his way. Like I'm gonna take care of these bastards. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I think it's a great movie. It doesn't. What I mean was, like, it didn't bog you down with a love story or whatever. Nancy Allen, she's usually playing these babes and stuff. It was a departure for her because she's playing just a tough cop chick, and really is a good partner for him. So yeah, it was a great movie.
Okay, thanks for that, Tim. We'll move back to Susan.
Yeah, to piggyback off what Tim was saying, there was like the whole family thing, and it wasn't romantic. It was just really sweet. You're right. That was good when she's tending to him and stuff, and so this right here is my favorite scene with his where he's looking in the mirror, and it's in the old steel mill, and so he's got all the tools to make himself over again. So that's pretty cool. And he's like the $6 million man, only with with a personality issue because of the brokenness that happened um, when they took care of removing his memories, I suppose. Anyway, and the other scene that was really great was where was the shootout at the gas station where he recognizes the first one,
Mm.
and it starts off like just bullets flying and then pierces the gas line and you're like, huh, I wonder if that's gonna go Michael Bay, and it totally does. And anyway, so and the way he hunts down all the people who killed him one by one, um, eventually like recording people's confessions and stuff. It was good. I guess that's really good police work anyway. So
Wish all police forces were like that.
so yeah, but I mean, like there is that homicide hunter who actually because of good police work was able to catch like 93% of all the homicides in that part of Colorado, which is awesome. You know, if you kill him, I will find you. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what RoboCop is great. Anyway, and I like the amped up gun that they were using, that they were going to try to kill him with. That was amazing, and so yeah, um, it had some awesome moments, and it is really a classic, and I'm really glad we watched it.
I'm glad it was picked at random last week, but yeah, for me, one of the scenes was when he's killed. That is such a brutal scene. The gangmen are just shooting him. They shoot his hand off, shoot him then finally in the head. I mean, I don't think you'll be able to do that today in this sort of society. It'd be edited out or whatever, but it, it it adds so much to the story, and you understand why the revenge side of it. He went for it. Also, say there's comedy in this as well. The as you said, the machine falling down, toppling down the stairs, laid on its back, like a little tortoise on its back.
And
Also,
like a baby. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
like baby noises. I was bonkers. What the heck?
But and also as well, when near the end of the movie, the confrontation in the boardroom, as the boss says, he's got a gun to his head and he says, "You're fired," and the RoboCop, "Thank you," out the window.
Not to mention that scene with the shut up, where the guy drives into that and it says toxic waste. You're just like, well, that's not going to end well. And sure enough, it doesn't.
All his face and all that. Oh yeah, that was so well done. I do miss, because they don't seem to make movies like this now. Just all out.
I would say that the Revenge of the Sith is like this with the creation of Vader. I mean, like he blew all of his arms and legs off, and then he's like,
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, sort of in this sort of style of movie, it's got to be so stylistic movie, and it's got to be arty farty.
I can't think why they remade it. I didn't see the remake, but why would you remake a classic? I mean, there's no point.
I mean,
There's no point. You're not going to
Yeah.
top what's been done before, even though it's a product of its time. It's a classic product of its time. There's no point in remaking it.
Yeah, but we're getting this all the time now, Tim, aren't we? It's just remake, reboot, remake. Originality, please. It's getting a bit tedious. I mean, this break in the cinema world where we're not getting anything made. Well, we are getting things made, but we're not getting to see them as yet. It's just so hopefully, when we can see all these movies what have been made in the COVID environment, we might get something as classic as this. Hopefully, who knows? But we shall see. Yeah, I enjoyed this. It's a fun watch. But as we say, it's brutal, very brutal in places. And for me, that's the best thing about it. So, anything else? What anybody likes to say about this?
Well, it makes you feel for the character because he's a very sympathetic character. I mean, we've seen him be murdered brutally, and then we see him get his revenge, and I think that's an excellent story. I mean, it's this kind of story that never gets old, and it's a new twist on it. You know what I mean? You can tell the usual revenge type stories, but this they put a new spin on it and made it really more interesting. You can see why it had sequels.
Yeah. I mean, the second RoboCop 2 was as good as this.
I would reckon that the reason those other movie stars didn't do it probably because this was on a pretty tight budget and they couldn't afford them. I bet you that had something to do with it as well.
Well, yeah.
Weller was pretty much an unknown at this time. I would say.
I mean, it also made what with the release of this movie and other movies around that time, you was destined to have games made up, video games, and of course there was a RoboCop video game, well known thing. And my favorite, I always remember playing a RoboCod. He was a robotic fish. It was.
Did he sing show tunes?
It was just one of my childhood things I remember. RoboCod. I'm digressing. Anything else before we final say and score?
Never heard of it. Love the bit. Like I've been watching this woman named Amy C3 on Twitch, and she's a housing advocate. And this is this is like exactly what she fights. She fights these people who go in, take a whole city, tear it down, put a new city on top, make it super wealthy, only affordable to people who have at least 1 or 2 or 3 times the median level of. So it's basically gentrification, and she and this RoboCop and the fact that there was a police union and they were going on strike. I mean, like that, like on some level, it's like that is like really hard to, it would be really hard to overcome this kind of greed and gentrification and stuff like that. It's so incredibly hard to do, and to overcome that and make things equitable again. And I guess the police union was the way that this movie showed that eventually everybody would be able to rely on each other, and it wouldn't become so depraved and so greedy and corrupt and stuff.
It's too bad that the police of today are treated so badly.
They're not, though. I mean, I live in Massachusetts, and around here, police are. I mean, we have funeral. Even in COVID, we have parades and funerals for every single police officer who gets killed. Every single one who loses their abilities is covered. I mean, this is land of police.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm just saying it's not like that everywhere at the moment. In some states, the police are treated really badly. But I think we're getting off on a tangent.
Enough state that you can say that there are places that are like this. that are really encouraging to law enforcement officers.
Yeah,
I mean,
Texas is one of
our law enforcement. I met the chief of police of Boston, um, Commissioner Gross, and he's immense. I mean, he was so influential, and he said he would only stay until Mayor Marty Walsh left, and so as Marty Walsh is going to Washington, he's leaving. But I mean, we do encourage police here, and I go to meetings every month. I go to the police meeting for our city. I mean, there's so much interaction. It helps. It does. But the police union in this one is there to show that working together they can overcome this huge gentrification, this arc of greed and corruption. It's just, oh my gosh, it was so good. Anyway, I got that sort of sense when I was watching it too. I really saw so many like parallels in this movie to what's going on in the world right now. Anyway,
Well, uh, yeah, it's good. For the police force in your city, many cities across the world, there's a lack of respect for police forces, especially in the UK where I am. The youngsters of today just don't respect the police force.
exactly. That was my point. They don't.
Yeah, they don't, and the job they do, they put their lives on the line, like like any emergency service, the police force, the fire service, the medical professions put their lives on the line. There's no respect from the younger generation. I don't understand.
Or some of the local politicians. I mean, in some of these states over here, they
Yeah.
they turn their back on the police, and then they cut their pay, and a
Yeah.
lot of them retired and said, you know what, we're not going to be treated like that. We're just going to retire then. And then they
It's
wonder
just-
where the police are when the crime goes up. I mean, who votes for these people?
It's a shame. It's a shame. I've got full respect for all these people in the services, and that's how it should be across the board. But
Exactly.
I don't know. It's just it's a strange world we live in these days. That's what can you do? So that's our discussion of RoboCop. So we'll go to final say and score then. Tim, final say and score.
And it's an excellent classic 80s film, and it doesn't linger too long. It's pretty straightforward. It's got a great cast. It's got some great direction too. It's a good movie. I'm gonna give it a 9. It's a great pick.
Cool. Susan.
yeah, I'll give it a 9 as well. I really got a lot out of it. A lot of parallels, a lot of like, sort of political issues that are going on right now. We're kind of able to be, sussed out from this. So yeah, 9 it is.
Cool. And nobody said, I don't think nobody said that I'd buy that for $1. You may be able to get that for $1. I don't know these days, but check it out. But yeah, I think I'm going to go. Shall I go 9 or shall I go 20 seconds to comply out of 10? Which equals 9 out of 10 for me. So, so it's 999. And that's the police force in the UK. So thank you guys, Susan, Tim, for discussing RoboCop. You guys out there, please leave a comment below if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. Please, if you want to watch, be notified about what we put up, press the notification button and you'll get a little ding. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're all over the place. So if you want to join us, please leave me a message or whatever, and we'll try and get you on. We discuss movies, TV shows when we decide what we're going to watch. We also do audio drama, which we do twice a month. So please, if you're interested in any of that lot, because the genre we do, we just do across the board: sci-fi, drama, thriller, murder mysteries, horror, you name it, animation sometimes. So
No rom-coms.
I know we've done a few rom-coms, a couple of rom-coms. We don't mind a bit of comedy now and again, just to lighten the mood. You know what I mean? Susan loves a bit of rom-com. And we always score low on the rom-coms for Susan's, especially if it's got Michael Shanks in them. Oh, she's got a thing for Michael Shanks, haven't you, Susan? Yeah. So until next time, folks, be safe and be careful out there. Bye for now.